All right, folks, so we have some not so good news for the anti-lockdown crowd, as there are possibly three new strains of COVID that are popping up around the globe and that may be more infectious and spread faster than the current strain that we're dealing with. And like I said at the beginning, this is not good news for us, but we really don't know exactly what this means. So I'm going to detail what's currently happening and give you the information that we currently have. And then we can kind of go from there to see, okay, is this going to extend the lockdowns in this pandemic? But before we get into that, my name is Greg Foreman and you're watching A Black Conservative Perspective. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share A Black Conservative Perspective, aka a leftist worst nightmare. You can also follow me on Twitter at gforemanbcp. Let's get it. All right, guys, so here we are, as we have three new strains of COVID and what we know so far. There are now two new variants of the coronavirus traveling the world, and possibly a third. These discoveries have made international travel even more difficult, as countries around the world are imposing stricter COVID-19 restrictions on travel from places with documented cases of the new variants. The first new variant of the novel coronavirus is the B.1.1.7 strain, first detected in the United Kingdom in November and now recorded in a growing number of countries in Europe as well as in the Middle East, Southeast Asia, and Oceania. New research suggests that this variant is 56% more transmissible than the virus circulating in the United States. The UK strain has been identified in Denmark, the Netherlands, Northern Ireland, and Australia. On Wednesday, 4 cases of the B.1.1.7 coronavirus mutation were also recorded in Israel. All were passengers who had flown from England in recent days, and they are now isolating at home, according to the Jerusalem Post. The new coronavirus mutates regularly, acquiring about one new mutation in its genome every 2 weeks, the CDC said in a statement. But the majority of mutations are insignificant. In March, for example, 2 researchers at a Chinese university identified 2 separate strains of the COVID-19 virus. Researchers are still trying to determine the significance of the new UK variant, but the CDC noted that based on early data, quote, this variant strain has been predicted to potentially be more rapidly transmissible than other circulating strains. A second, potentially even more infectious new variant of the novel coronavirus was first identified in South Africa and now has emerged in the United Kingdom, the British government has confirmed. British Health Secretary Matt Hancock told reporters on Wednesday that the South African variant is, quote, highly concerning because it is yet more transmissible and appears to have mutated further than the new variant discovered in the UK. All right, so that's definitely not good news. It seems that the United Kingdom is getting hit hard by COVID, as they now have both of the 2 new strains. Today, Africa's top public health official said that a third new variant of the coronavirus appears to have emerged in Nigeria, as reported by the Associated Press. Quote, it's a separate lineage from the UK and South Africa. John Nikingsong, the head of Africa's Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, told reporters. None of the new coronavirus variants have been identified in the United States. However, the CDC warned that may be meaningless. Viruses have only been sequenced from about 51,000 of the 17 million U.S. cases, or about 1/3 of 1%. Quote, given a small fraction of U.S. infections that have been sequenced, the variant could already be in the United States without having been detected, said the CDC. Currently, more than 40 countries, including Canada, have suspended travel with the United Kingdom. That list does not include the United States, but the CDC has a long-standing level 4 health advisory in place, signify a very high level of COVID-19, and recommending that travelers, quote, should avoid all travel to the United Kingdom. All right, guys, the takeaway from this is that there are now 3 new strains that apparently seem to be more transmissible than what we're currently dealing with in the United States, that are coming from the UK, South Africa, and Nigeria. Okay, so that's the key takeaway here from this article. Now, the next question is, will the vaccines that we have be effective against the new variants? And the answer to that seems to be positive to mixed. So genetics experts worry coronavirus vaccines might not work well against UK variant. Michael Worobe, a biologist at the University of Arizona, has seen more than 100,000 different strains of the virus that causes COVID-19. But when he saw the new variant from the UK, he noticed something different. Quote, "This is the first variant I've seen during the whole pandemic where I took a step back and said, quote, whoa," he remembers. Health officials have downplayed the possibility that the corona vaccines won't work against the UK strain, but Warbay and other scientists think it's a possibility, and it's just a possibility that this new variant might, to a small extent, outsmart the vaccines. Quote, "This is the first variant I've seen where I think there is this burning question," said Warbay, head of the Department of Ecology and Evolutionary Biology at the University of Arizona. Trevor Bedford, associate professor in the Vaccine and Infectious Disease Division of the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center, is also keeping a close eye on the UK variant. Large clinical trials have shown that the vaccines by Pfizer/BioNTech and Moderna are about 95% effective against the novel coronavirus. Those trials, however, were done before the UK variant started in its explosive growth. Bedford said that he doesn't believe the vaccine will be useless against the new UK strain, but it might lower its effectiveness somewhat. Quote, "It might decrease vaccine efficiency from 95% to something like 80 to or 85%, he said. Quote, "It would be a modest effect, not a dramatic effect." Health officials have said there is no reason to think the vaccines won't work against the new variant. Quote, "There is no evidence to suggest nor reason to believe that it would evade our vaccines that we have right now," Assistant Secretary for Health Admiral Dr. Brent Gear said Monday. All right, guys, so I think that's enough there. So obviously, as you can see, the scientific community is positive as of right now to, neutral on whether or not the vaccines will be effective against the new variants. But one thing is for sure, guys, is that these new variants is going to be an excuse to extend the lockdowns, as the CDC is now requiring negative COVID-19 tests for all passengers traveling to the U.S. from the UK. So they've restricted travel. I think a lot of places have restricted travel from the UK. So they're extending the lockdown because of that. And I can imagine if this new strain actually does make it to the United States, any one of these three, that could be a new excuse for extended lockdowns. And this is coming as Fauci is coming out and basically moving the goalposts on when he believes we will reach herd immunity. In the pandemic's early days, Dr. Fauci tended to cite the same 60 to 70% estimate that most experts did. About a month ago, he began saying 75% in television interviews, and last week in an interview with CNBC News, he said 75, 80, 85%, and 75 to 80 plus percent. In a telephone interview the next day, Dr. Fauci acknowledged that he had slowly but deliberately been moving the goalposts. He was doing so, he said, partially based on new science and partially on his gut feeling that the country is finally ready to hear what he thinks. Hard as it may be to hear, he said he believes that it may take close to 90% immunity to bring this virus to a halt, almost as much as needed to stop a measles outbreak. Asked about Dr. Fauci's conclusions, prominent epidemiologist said that he might be proven right. The early range of 67% was almost undoubtedly too low, they said, and the virus is becoming more transmissible, so it will take greater herd immunity to stop it. Dr. Fauci said that weeks ago he had hesitated to publicly raise his estimate because many Americans seem hesitant about vaccines, which they would need to accept almost universally in order for the country to achieve herd immunity. Ain't it funny how Fauci can just flip-flop, right, and move the goalposts on things because he feels that the public isn't ready to hear something? But when President Trump, feels that the public is not necessarily ready to hear something, he doesn't want to incite mass panic. He wants people to stay under control. He's criticized and deaths are being put on him and things of that nature. So using that same logic, if Fauci is trying to underestimate herd immunity, trying to keep Americans calm about taking a vaccine, don't that deserve some level of criticism? Right? Shouldn't he deserve some blame and some criticism for that? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It seems like there's a huge double standard that the media has against President Trump and Fauci. right? As if Fauci is this infallible medical professional who never says anything wrong, when it seems like every single day he's really just giving his opinion rather than just stating the facts and keeping it moving. But that's just me on that. But anyways, guys, as you can see here, the overall takeaway is that there are 3 new strains. The scientific community thinks they may or may not be effective against these new strains. They haven't reached the US yet, but as you can see what's going on in the UK and how restrictions are being implemented in the UK, more lockdowns, more restrictions. I wouldn't be surprised if our politicians use this as an excuse to continue the lockdowns, and it's just not looking great right now for the open up the country crowd. We are getting beat over the head right now, it seems. And Fauci is continuing to move the goalposts on herd immunity, which means that it's going to take even longer, right? And that's what all signs are pointing to. Plus, on top of that, you have Joe Biden coming out saying that our darkest days are ahead of us. They're telling us exactly what's going to happen here, right? Like, they're telling us that this is something that's probably going to end up lasting and going on probably at least for another year. At least that's my opinion based off what they're saying. I hope not. I pray that it's not, but man, this news about this virus is killing me. But anyways, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.